Hello and welcome back to Sort of Strategy and Road to Regionals. It's been a long time, but finally I'm doing my report on Irish Nationals, which I went to. The second regionals I've taken Infernoids to. I said before that I would take each deck to one event each, which just seems a bit unrealistic. But anyway, I said that I would do one more event with Infernoids because I didn't do that great. I was disappointed with my performance at the previous event, just because I was still learning decks and I didn't know the meta too well and stuff because I was just back to the game. And then it was the last event of the year. I wasn't going to be going to Euros anyway. And I was like, fuck it, I might as well just do it for the last event of the year and then change deck in the new season. So, so I played Infernoids, as I've already just told you if you haven't been watching the other ones. So the recap of the day, I got up at 3:30 in the morning. So I live in a 2.5 hours away by bus to the event, which probably doesn't sound that bad for some people, but basically I'm saying I would definitely, from now on, if I want to actually play really competitively, I want to stay up there the night before instead of getting the bus, because, yeah, being up at 3:30, walking to town, which is like a 40-minute walk, had a shower and all that, got the bus at 5:15, got to Dublin probably around 7:30, walked to the venue, which was probably got there at like 20 to 9. That was another long walk from Dublin, but we got food and stuff, so that was part of the time. Got to the venue around 9. Round 1 started at 11, so there's a good gap between sign-up starting and the first round, because there was a record attendance of 180 players. Probably people watching this who were like, 180 players, that's fucking shit. But the previous year had around only 90 players, and then the previous record for most attendance was around 130. So 180-ish. There was more than 180, but it was still in the 180s. So that was really good for an Irish event. And yeah, it just shows that everywhere the game seems to be growing. So yeah, great stuff. Anyway, moving on. I played Infernoids. My favorite build so far. It feels so strong, so competitive, so consistent. It is really, really good. Like, I actually am loving the deck. I felt like I knew the meta very well. Doing the videos, explaining each of the meta decks really helped me. That's why I haven't done a Road to Regionals in so long. I basically did the, explaining competitive decks videos, because it just helped me learn the meta for this event, and I really was going to try and do really well. Okay, so yeah, next point, tried to do really well, and or wanted to do really well. My side deck was really, really good, and I was ready to fuck shit up. Okay, I was really excited. I felt like I was gonna, do really well. Okay, so round 1. It was a very close match. I was playing against Thunder Dragons. I was hoping to avoid Thunder Dragons all day, but straight away played the Thunder Dragons. It was my worst matchup. And then the next 2 points I'll explain now, because I wouldn't want to write an essay on each page, basically. But yeah, he got very lucky. First of all, I know this sounds like bullshit, but you'll see in a sec. And then time also came up, which is a very minor thing, but it kind of was a running theme throughout the day, and I think I don't know, I'll get to it anyway. But yeah, so game 1, I went first, which is great. Won the dice roll. I had Lair, Feast, a Decatron, and like some other bits probably that got me to those pieces, basically, right? Maybe an Infernoid or so. But they're the main things, right? So I activate Lair, set Feast, had something for Feast. I think it was Void Imagination I had. So I ended on basically a Feast, a Decatron, and that was normal summon. So I had 2 monster negates because of Feast and the normal summon Decatron. And then I had a Spell and Trap negate because of the other Decatron. I had a Sajet on the field and a Lair of Darkness up. So I had 2 monster negates, a Spell and Trap negate, a Tribute on opponent's side of the field, and a DD Crow, basically, okay? I was like, okay, well, this game is won. My opponent looks at his hand and he's like, oh, this is not good. And activates Allure of Darkness, draws 2, banishes Nessie. I was like, wow, his hand must be really bad if he is banishing dangers, right? Activates another Allure of Darkness, banishes Tsuchinoko, or Snek, or whatever. I was like, wow, that's pretty bad. Activates another Allure of Darkness, banishes Roar. I was like, okay, negate Roar. Tributed a Decatron, negate Roar. He chains Call by the Grave, which targets my Decatron. If that goes off, it'll negate all the Decatrons on field as well. So I negate the Call by the Grave with my 1 Spell and Trap negate. He chains another Call by the Grave. So basically, the one thing I think in the whole game, other than like side deck stuff like Sphere Mode or Lava Golem, that could out that board was 2 Called by the Graves. So he Called by the Graves, the first one I negate, he chains Called by the Grave to the next one. So basically, 2 of my Decatrons are gone. The third one is negated. I now have a Tribute on my opponent's side of the field and a DD Crow left. He basically goes on then to, you know, pick apart my board and win game 1. So I was like, oh, fuck. It was good. I didn't misplay or anything like that, but I feel like that was pretty sacky. But oh well, you know what I mean. 3 Lure of Darkness and then into the 2 Called by the Graves. Yeah, it was annoying. Anyway, game 2, I went first again. I double feasted, so that was 2 great boards. He had no way to play through it, and I won. Game 3, he goes first. He ends on Quatless, Calamities, and Colossus, right? Maybe something else, but nothing that really mattered, right? He basically activates Calamities really early. There was nothing I could do about it. He basically... I think I had a Sphere Mode still. I like Sphere Mode. He had a Saryuja field as well, but I Sphere Mode away his Colossus, Calamities, and Quatless. But Calamities, True King of all Calamities, his effect is like Abyss Dweller. It stays for the rest of the turn. And I couldn't really do anything beyond that point. And then went back to him. He OTK'd me. The reason... So basically, I lost 2-1. Even with game 1 feeling really bullshit. But yeah, I was really annoyed. Like, I wasn't like giving out or anything like that. But I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that is so unlucky. I played really well. Drew really good hands. And the deck did super, really well. Like, honestly. But yeah, I felt a bit shit. The reason then... So that's why I have the lucky bastard point here. But yeah, my opponent was sound for the, like, but there was one thing, like, that happened. It happened my first game, or my first match, and then it happened to me so much throughout the day. But the beer, like, we're going into our last game. There was like 7 minutes left in the round, which is decent considering, which isn't that bad, like, but yeah, as soon as my turn started, I'm like looking at my hand, thinking, reading his cards and stuff, and then he's like, oh, come on, we only have 7 minutes left. I'm like, I'm allowed to read your cards. Like, I don't know. I lost anyway, whatever, fine. I was like, yeah, I'm just reading your cards or whatever, sorry. I was like, yeah, I'll play fast. And then I, did my turn, couldn't out the Calamities, went back to him, he won. I was like, oh shit, yeah. Kind of annoyed that I lost, but I was still feeling really positive, really optimistic. I was like, if that's my bad matchup, then I'm fucking gonna do so well today. And yeah, so I was feeling okay, even though I was a bit annoyed that I lost at first, but then I was like, I don't know. I was feeling optimistic anyway, so... Next round, I played against Salamangreat. So, time was huge in this game, which is annoying. So, again, there's going to be a running theme today, and at the end, spoilers, I'm going to say I really don't like the new time rules. It felt like it kind of soured the whole day, do you mean? I never had an argument with any of my opponents before this game, this match, and then I was accused of stalling as well, which is so annoying, because basically, at the start of this round, the judges were all like, oh, we're going to have to repair. And then, so me and my opponent were just talking. He was really sound, to be fair. And he said that he lost round 1 in time. And then when I had more damage than him in game 3, spoilers, I win this match. He was really pissed then that he lost basically 2 matches to time and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't stall or whatever. But he was like, oh, lost to stalling or whatever to his friend when his friend came up to the table. And I was like, excuse me, like, I wasn't stalling. Like, I didn't try to win with time. Like, thank you very much or whatever. I wasn't as bitchy as that, but like, he was like, oh, I know, but you were reading my cards and you were. And I was like, yeah, I'm like reading your cards. What's wrong with reading cards? If you're not allowed to play the game without reading opponent's cards, I know there's that meme. Oh, can I read this card in your graveyard? But you know what I mean. Like, it was a bit bullshit. Basically, I felt like I was pissed that he accused me of doing that. Like, you mean? Game 1. I'll explain it, go through the games. Game 1, I went first, I think. All I had was Lair and like a normal summon Decatron, so Brick there. He won that. Game 2, I had Feast, Lair, and it was a bit of a grind, but like I won it out in the end. And then Game 3, we were coming close to time, and I had Imagination, sent a load of stuff to the graveyard, used Hita, made Echomax and a Tondel, attacked twice with a Tondel and once with Ecomax. He was left on 1200, and then time was called, and he was really pissed. But like, I can understand why he was annoyed, but between games, he was asking me like, oh, isn't this how the deck, you know what I mean? He was talking to me about my deck, and we were it was kind of like a laid-back, chill game, and then when time started to be a problem, then he got mad, and I don't know. I understand why he's annoyed, but yeah, it just felt kind of shit. So I won that game, but I was honestly kind of a bit stressed after it, to be honest. Okay, so I was 1-1 going into round 3. I played against Striker. So for me, Striker is a great matchup. I was feeling really confident. As soon as I saw the Striker cards, I was like, yes, this is going to be amazing. Game 1, I made Hita, Echo Max, and then OTK'd really easy. I had a Tondel and Nonku on field, and blew him away in like the first turn or so, I think. I think it was with Imagination combo. And then game 2... No, it couldn't have been in the first few minutes, because he did... Basically, game 2... Yeah, because it went on for a while, because we did go to time. We didn't get even to start game 3. So it couldn't have been in the first turn. Anyway, that's what happened anyway. After a while, I OTK'd him, Hita, Echomax, and other boys, basically, right? Game 2 then, he sat on mine for about 10 minutes, which was infuriating, but also at the same time, not infuriating. Like, I was just like, oh, this is just shit. Like, I was literally just drawing a card and being like, okay, pass. He was like, draw, pass, draw, pass, draw, pass. He didn't really do anything, like... And you could, like, he wouldn't make eye contact with me the whole time, because I knew he was just stalling, like, do you mean? Obviously, he's playing mine or whatever. Like, I side mine, to be fair, but... Yeah, this just felt crappy. Like, it was a really bad matchup for him, and he just sat on mine. Anyway, yeah, we ended up... I should have scooped and went straight to game 3 and tried to win that way, but I just didn't think of it. I don't know, maybe I was a bit tired because we were up so early, and by this point it was kind of a bit later into the day, because we'd done a couple of rounds, and we were up since 3:30 this morning. That morning, I mean. But yeah, it ended up... He basically stalled me out, and then, like, when there was, like, a minute left in time, he makes... Hayase attacks directly for 1500 and then time's called, and then it was like the shittiest draw ever. I was just like, oh, like, I don't know, losing round 1 to that kind of, you know, I was a bit, I still felt good after losing round 1, as I said, but it just kind of chipped away at me a bit. Game 2, round 2 then, getting accused of stalling and all that, and my opponent being mad at me, like, that felt kind of shit. And then round 3 then, drawing to just mine a direct attack from Hayase. It just... I don't know, I honestly was just kind of like, oh, this is just annoying, like, I don't know. It honestly did piss me off. Then, like, I didn't get angry or, you know, act out of order, I never would or anything, but it's just, I don't know, it felt kind of shit, like, put me in a bad mood. Round 4, played against Salamangreats again. Game 1, I went second and lost. Okay, I should cover the points on screen first, because these really need to be explained. By now, I was actually really tired. I was yawning and stuff. We didn't have any time pretty much to eat between rounds and all that. I had water with me, and I had some stuff in my bag, like kind of snacky things, like rice cakes and shit like that. But really, it didn't really help. It felt like, yeah, I was really tired at this point. Going first, I forgot that Lair of Darkness is a floodgate, basically. So basically, as you can, I put Sunlight Wolf here for a reason. 2 fire effect monsters. Lair of Darkness makes everything dark, and I completely forgot that. So... This could have been totally different if I remember that. It's totally on me, like, it is my fault. Like, I'm not going to make excuses. But again, when I realized this, I was just like, oh, I'm so retarded. And it just, yeah. It's just another thing that kind of just bent me down a bit. I had OTK. Okay, so I'll explain this, right? Game 1, I lost. Game 2, after forgetting Lair and all that, I made Doolittle Chimera, a Tondel, and Deviati. He had Heatleo on field. And basically I attack twice with a Tondel, attack with Doolittle, attack with Deviati. I'm like, game. I sit back in my chair, I'm like, oh, phew. And Iran just goes, oh, time ended like a minute ago. I was like, are you serious? Oh my god. Basically, like, when I went to battle phase, I was like, going through my main phase. And when I went to battle, I was like, battle phase, attack, 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 attack. And he was just like, oh, time's up. I was like, oh, fuck me. I lost again to time. I lost 1-0, like, there. For fuck's sake, yeah. It just felt really shit, like, honestly. He probably had done some, like, a little bit of life points damage, but I must have been at least, you know, 6,000 or more. But he had chipped away at me, probably, we'll say, before that. So it was a 2-0. But, like, I had way more than 8k on board. It's just, and, like, just losing to, like, 20 seconds or 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it was. It just feels really fucking shit, honestly. Like, I don't know. The whole day just... Time really just... I felt like time kind of ruined the day for me. I don't know. I'm not used to playing with time yet, I feel like. But also, it just feels shit because I was so prepared for the day. My side deck was great. My main deck I felt was great. But maybe could do it, maybe a change or two. And then I knew the meta. I had like finally learned a load of the meta decks. I was like, this is it, I'm gonna do so well, and then I just losing the time then just really just knocked the wind out of me. So by round 5, I had 1 win, 1 loss, no, 2 losses and a draw. So I was 1-1-2, which was, you know, it was just really disappointing. And then round 5, I was like so tired now at this point. Like, I had a Red Bull in my bag, but didn't get to actually drink it. I was gonna drink the Red Bull, like, Jimmy. That was how pretty desperate I was. Like, but yeah, basically, I was really tired. I was yawning constantly. Like, I had like, you know, water around my eyes and shit, like just from yawning so much. I don't know. I don't want to be making excuses either, because that just sounds crappy. But I don't know. I was so when I was going home after this, I was just like, oh, I feel like shit. Like, this is just, I don't know. It's just annoying. Like, yeah, I was really tired and I was just not in a good mood. Myself and my opponent just had a chill, laid-back match. Both of us knew we weren't going to top, so we weren't playing like super competitive or anything. We were both trying to win, but we were taking our time and shit. And he was really sound. We kind of just, like, we had a really laid-back game. It was enjoyable and stuff. He was really, really nice. Yeah, Guru Control. I was like, oh yeah, Guru Control, I have a decent matchup against these. But honestly, I don't really have that great a matchup against him. It wasn't that bad. Like, so game 1, I went second. We both kind of bricked. He drew a lot of hand traps. It was basically like a grind and kind of like, then eventually I think he drew Demise or something like that after like literally like 8 turns in. A lot of the time it was like, draw, activate this, he hand traps it, and I was like, okay, end, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, he had no Guru and stuff like, it was a weird match anyway. So he activated Demise and then just gained too much advantage, and then I scooped there just to try and save time. Because now I was super sensitive over time. Then game 2, I went first. I had Lair and Feast, and I basically couldn't get through that, and I won. And then game 3 was like really short, and then I lost to basically the hand trap buff, and then he attacked, or the trap buff, not hand trap. I think he attacked me, activates the trap, or I attacked him and he activates the trap that buffed his guy, and then time was called and I just lost on life points. It's just like, I don't know, I wasn't, at this point I was just like, oh fuck, I'm just like, I'm not even pissed at this point, I'm just like, oh fuck this. Do you mean, like, I don't know, I lost again. It was 1-1-3, and then after this I dropped from the tournament, which is really shit, because like, I usually, first of all, like, okay, just a disclaimer, I don't have to be winning to play the tournament, like, do you mean? Like, I'm not that kind of player or whatever. I'll play, usually, like, this is the first time I've ever dropped. I usually play every round, no matter what, no matter how bad I'm doing or how good I'm doing. I don't only play if I'm winning, pretty much, is what I'm saying. I usually play to the end. But at this point, like, I was just in a bad mood, I was really tired, I just wasn't able to I just wasn't concentrating, and just, I don't know, I just felt kind of disheartened or something like that. I was like, fuck this. Like, I honestly just, me and my friend was playing Necros. It was pretty cool. His deck was pretty interesting. There was some stuff he decided on that he was like, oh, I'd play the other variant. He was basically playing the Zaborg variant, and he's like, oh, definitely would have preferred to play the Vanity's Ruler variant. He was siding that, and he said that it was way better. But yeah, anyway, yeah, at this point I dropped. I was kind of annoyed or whatever. So I was wrecked tired, fairly pissed about time, and wasn't enjoying myself that much at this point. I think for the most part that's true. Like, wasn't enjoying myself sounds a bit like, I don't know, like a true tantrum or whatever, but I didn't. But yeah, got food, bought some stuff from the vendor, and then me and my friend left. And yeah, I don't know, I was pretty disappointed. In conclusion, I will stay up the night before at the venue, or near the venue, definitely next time. So even if I got 8 hours of sleep the night before, I was up so long before everyone else, and then with the traveling and shit, that it just, by the time like the third round started, like, or even second round or whatever, I was just tired, like. Anyway, yeah, so I'll stay up the night before. I'm really disappointed with the result. I really wanted to play Infernoids for my last time and do really well with them before I kind of put them away and stuff. I'll never sell them, they're my favorite deck and stuff, so they're always there, but yeah, I would have liked to do well with them before I move on. So yeah, that's annoying, but the deck played so well, there aren't any huge problems. I might make some small changes to the main deck, and then other than that, everything was really, really good. I feel like I was really unlucky, but that doesn't fly, basically saying, like, saying you're unlucky isn't a good enough reason why you did bad or whatever. So I guess If I was to blame anything really on myself, I would say if I just need to get better at playing under time, or pray that Konami do something about the time rules, because I just don't like them. I think that they're just not good. And then I would love to play Infernoids again, but I said I'd move on for the new season, so I guess I will. Like, I think the Infernoid build is really fun. I think it's really good. I think that it can be competitive easily. I think it can compete. Vlad, a guy from Dublin, actually took Infernoids to Euros and topped with them. Came like 23rd or something like that out of an 1,800 person event. So, you know, Infernoids are a good deck. Really underrated, but I don't know. I'm just really disappointed, honestly. And yeah, that's the end of that. I'm going to jump to Dev Pro and show you the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile and, you know, consider trying it out yourself. I'll talk about the things that I said I might change. And yeah, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back. So I'm only going to talk about cards that are kind of, like, I'm not going to talk about these, for example, because you're always going to run them. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to only talk about things that actually need to be talked about. And yeah, this is the build. So now's your chance to net deck this if you really want to. The first thing I want to talk about, Tondel. Some people cutting this. This was really, really good all day. The double attack came up so much. Definitely would not cut this. Setsumis at 1 was good. I didn't really abuse the banish effect too much, but it's great to have that non-targeting banish. Sajet, I drew a good bit going first, which was annoying, but I drew going first or second is annoying, but yeah, can't really do anything about that. 2 Petrudia and 1 Hermetic. I really like these for breaking board and linking away. They bait out negates and they're just really strong. I really like them. I think this is a good ratio, personally. Lilith was amazing. 2 Arima. So Arima, like, I really like the card, and this is probably the first thing that you could probably cut. I think play 1 for sure, but you could definitely cut 1 of them if you want. Remember that you're playing 3 Garnets. Well, other than all these guys, you're playing Sajet, Driver, and Void Expansion. So you kind of want to keep your ratio a bit higher than 40, like. So if you want to cut this, you can. I wouldn't feel too guilty about it. Next card I want to talk about, Gamma. Gamma was so good. With Vanishment and Extravagance, you basically have 6 Call by the Graves. And yeah, Gamma was just ridiculously strong. Yeah, later in the game when you have monsters in the field, it's not amazing, but seriously, it is so good. It can make pretty much anything, and then also you can make a mega with it as well going first, which just basically helps you build your first turn even better. Yeah, really, really good. I wouldn't change anything for it. Driver, the game where I went nearly OTK'd that Salamangreat player, but Time was called or whatever, the second Salamangreat player I played. I used this guy to tribute away one of my Decatrons that was like in the way pretty much. I basically had a monster that was too high a level. I think maybe it wasn't a Decatron, maybe it was a Deviati or an Uncu. I tributed away with Driver and then could summon stuff again, basically linked this away. And basically the fact that he's a normal monster means that his levels don't contribute to the restrictions on Infernoid monsters, for anyone who doesn't know. But yeah, Driver, really good. Actually did come up as a bit of a versatility, I guess, in this deck. So yeah, don't underestimate it, I suppose. Yeah, especially in a deck that doesn't have that many normal summons. Next thing, Void Banishment, really, really strong. This, I didn't really need to talk about that, but Imagination, some people cutting this to 2. I think I never really wished I played 2. Sometimes, like, drawing it going first is kind of bad, but it gives you the follow-up play, which Infernoids actually really need because they don't plus that much. So yeah, I think 3 of this was actually amazing. Expansion, I think, is definitely worth running. Definitely should play it. I think, yeah, I did draw it once or twice, but I think the one time I drew it, I actually had no other target for Feast, so it was actually worked out fine. But yeah, I can see why it's... Basically, I think you have to run this. It is really good. Lair of Darkness. This is another card that could probably be cut to 1. I love it, and it was really good at 2. I never really got annoyed by having 2 of it, and sometimes 1 would get popped, and I did get the other one, so 2 does come up. Like, this is very arguable to cut or not, but basically, a lot of the time you only need the 1. I think that you could cut a second one if you really want to. Next card, in Extravagance, was really, really strong. With Call by the Grave and Gamma went off a lot. It never banished all 3 of my tiaras. There were some times where there was a time where I'd be like, oh, I wish I had Hita or something, for example. That's just off the top of my head, made up. But yeah, it was really good in general. I wouldn't say it was bad for sure. Call by the Grave, amazing. Twin Twisters, So a lot of people would cut this. I love the side deck, so I wouldn't want to try and squeeze this into the side, but I really like it in the main anyway. Even going first, setting it is really nice against Salamangreats. When they set stuff, you pop it or chain it to their field spell, or Orchist when they set, and then end phase you pop 2 Fog Blades or a Fog Blade and a counter trap. It's just really good. It just going first is not the worst card, basically, and it does help you going second a lot. So I actually like maining this, but yeah, a lot of people would say to cut it. So I guess these are arguable. Next card, Monster Gate. I actually love this card as well. I know it sounds... a lot of people hate it or think it's bad. Even, like, people run Reasoning and sometimes even Monster Reborn over this card. I think this with Imagination is literally... If you have this in Monster Gate and Imagination, you win. Like, because you activate Imagination, get your 3 Entis on your opponent, and then Monster Gate your own Tiara away. Goes as cost, and then you guarantee an extra monster. If you get, like, a Lilith or something... It's ridiculous. You can tribute away the Lilith, or if you have this on the field, tribute away another opponent's monster. It's just like Imagination plus this is ridiculous. Okay, it helps a lot, and it can help like debrick your own field when you are stuck under your own levels. I really like it, but yeah, going first it's not amazing. That's Twin Twisters. This and Imagination are kind of like going second cards that I can kind of see why people kind of cut them down. Next card that I want to talk about, Metaverse. I think 2 of this was perfect. You could, I guess, maybe play a 3rd, but I don't really see the point. Trap Trick, I played 1. I don't really see why people play 2. I guess to see your traps more often or whatever, and it basically is either of these, but I really hate seeing Void Feast and then Trap Trick for the Metaverse, and then no Void target other than that Metaverse, because you have to activate Trap Trick, activate the Metaverse to get, say, this out, and then you can't activate the Void Feast because you can only activate 1 trap after this resolves, so it's kind of annoying, it's kind of bad. I kind of fear that. It shouldn't really matter bumping this up, but yeah, if you're going to cut out a load of these, this also is arguable. If you want to cut out some of these, but yeah, put in another Trap Trick, but I think 1 was fine. Like, if I drew a Metaverse, I can just Trap Trick for this. If I drew a Feast, I can Trap Trick for another Feast still, or a Trap Trick for a Metaverse if I so choose. So I think 1 Trap Trick is perfectly fine. Yeah, if you want to play another one, go ahead, do. Extra deck now. 3 Tiara, great. Sometimes sending the other 2 Tiara off this Tiara was really nice. 3 Entis, obviously. Omega, I actually met it once with Gamma, I think, and also sending it off Tiara is nice. Avermax. So I changed this from Barload to Avermax. Yes, Barload outs any monster pretty much, but Avermax nearly outs any monster. It has a similar thing to like Construct. Basically, he gains attack of any special summon monster that he battles. He can't be targeted like Barload, so he does the same job. And then when he is removed, you can shuffle a card in the field into the deck, which doesn't really matter, but it basically... The real reason I played this is because it's nearly as good as Barload, in my opinion. But also, he says 2 or more monsters, and Barload says 3 or more monsters. So if you Hita back a Sunlight Wolf or a Nightmare Phoenix, you can go straight into this, which you cannot do for Barload. So I ran that for the consistent, extra option, and I did not regret it. Echomax, really good, was amazing. I didn't actually use this all day, but yeah, I think this is better, I think, for that reason. Really good all day, really good all day. Actually used this once, was great. 1 of this and 2 of these, I think it's the right ratio. Both of these were great. I used this once and these quite a lot. Link Karibo didn't come up, but it's my only out to Inspector border. Didn't come up yet, as I said, but it was good. Sphere Mode and Lava Golem, I played this basically to be a 4th Sphere Mode. It was really nice for Thunder Dragons and I guess Orcus as well. This is Thunder Dragons and Orcus. This can be for, Salamangreats. This is great when you know you're going first. A lot of people would main this as well, so if you're cutting all these or some of these, consider maining a Mystic Mine. A 3rd Twin Twister, 3 evenly matched, and a red reboot. And that is everything. So, I'm going to try and cut it there because it's already been quite long. Yeah, I'm really sorry I didn't do that well. I'm disappointed as you are. I'm probably a lot more disappointed than you, actually, to be honest. And yeah, so... I'm going to do a video on what deck I'm going to play next. There's a lot of things I'm considering. I'm going to do a video on, my thought process and stuff. I might exclude Infernoids from that completely, but maybe I consider playing them again. I don't know. Maybe I'll take a break from them and maybe come back to them again. But yeah, I'll put up that video next. So like or subscribe if you want to see that, pretty much is what I'm saying. But yeah, anyway, going to end that tangent. Drop a like if you liked the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. thank you so much for watching, and sorry again for not doing that great. Yeah, anyway, bye-bye.